Hi guys, Dr. Traeger here again. We just finished up with our 3-year-old visit, and there's a lot of things to talk about and a lot of other things that I wanted to make sure that we hit in case we didn't get a chance to talk about them in the office today. Remember, these videos are great to share with people that weren't able to make it to the appointment with you, so that way they have an idea, of what we have been talking about while you guys were in for the appointment today. So 3 years old is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that are going on. And this age, generally when people look back and they think about their kids being toddlers, this is the age that they remember. There's just something really magical and special about this. And one of the best things or challenging things about being 3 is that 3-year-olds, that's not the terrible 2s, it's definitely something different, okay? So 3-year-olds are really opinionated about a lot of things. They will tell you what they think, they'll tell you what they want, and if their expectations aren't met, they will let you know, okay? Really funny. 2-year-olds are what we call macro rebellion type children. So you tell a 2-year-old, you say, or generally, you tell a 2-year-old and say, hey, look, stay out of the kitchen, I just mopped the floor. When a 2-year-old disobeys, they will run right through the kitchen and they will frankly just disobey. A 3-year-old, it's more of a lot of micro rebellion kinds of things. So what a 3-year-old will do is they will go up to the kitchen and you just mop the floor, you told them to stay out, and they'll put their feet right on the line and they'll say, hey, look, I'm not in the kitchen, but I'm in the kitchen. and it's their way of asserting their dominance over the situation. And just like anything else, we want to be firm, clear, and consistent with our expectations. So that way they know this is the consequence for when you disobey. A lot of times as a 3-year-old, when you're disciplining them, there's a little bit of a laughter inside you where you're like, oh geez, that was hilarious. But it's still not acceptable. So you still have to kind of squash that. So tantrums, things like that, those are legit, okay? And it's really tough. With my own kids, one of them, they were, pretty good 3-year-old generally. Another 3-year-old that I had, was really good about just being very cooperative. It was great. And then, of course, then you get the one who is throwing fits, tantruming, stomping, going every time they get mad. And you just have to just ignore those kinds of behaviors and say, no, that's not the way we behave. Just squash it. And supposedly it will get better. And I'll tell you if it does for me at some point in time. So fun things at 3, there are so many fun things that are going on here. So you should be riding a tricycle. So working on, that movement of the wheel is attached to the pedals. It's different than riding a bike where you can kind of glide. So it's a different kind of a thing. 4-year-olds typically do better on bikes. 3-year-olds do good on trikes and big wheels and things like that. They should be able to jump off things. They should be climbing on things, which is a lot of fun in the house. When you are drawing, they should draw like little circles and stuff like that. And kid scissors. This is the age that you can start using kid scissors, but it's supervised, okay? And you keep them someplace where they can't get a hold of them the rest of the time. They should be able to draw pictures that are usually a head with a body part, okay? I know when you guys are in the office and we're drawing on the paper on the tables, you can tell when a 3-year-old's there because it looks interesting, which is, 3-year-olds, that's the way they draw. And then also they should have 3-word phrases, being able to put a couple words together, make little phrases for things. And a stranger should understand about 3/4 of what they say. So when they talk to strangers generally get the idea of what they're talking about. And the really fun thing at 3 is they can tell you a story, okay? So if you want to do it with your own kid, that's great. But if you ever run into another 3-year-old, ask them, say, hey, tell me about this, okay? And they will answer it and they'll tell you a great story. So 3-year-olds are great at that. Really fun. 4-year-olds, they tell you a story that you didn't want to know about. So kind of just have fun with it and talk with them and kind of, get them used to talking, interacting with adults and with you guys and stuff like that. Okay, at 3, eating is usually still rather picky. And I know I mention this all the time, but 3-year-olds are typically pretty picky. And if they're not getting what they want, a lot of them will just refuse to eat. Now, we've encouraged you in the past to not harass them. Okay, so don't say you have to take a bite before you get up. You have to do those things because you're putting the power in with them. They have the power to eat something or not. And it's usually easier for them to say, I'm not gonna eat, than it is for you to enforce the consequence that you're trying to give them. Now, what's really interesting is the research shows that 3-year-olds and above can overwhelm their their hunger point, okay? So a 3-year-old, if you harass them enough, they will learn, yep, I got to go ahead and finish my plate, or yep, if I'm going to eat this, I have to, I can eat more ice cream and things like that. Kids less than 3, you give them something they really like, they'll stop when they're full. A lot of them will. Not all of them do. A lot of them will. And at 3, they will eat until they can't breathe sometimes if it's something they really like. So we want them to listen to their body. If they're telling you they're not hungry, then they are not hungry. And when they say they're hungry later on, you say, hey, guess what? It's not mealtime. Those kinds of behaviors do get better with some time. But just do your best to try not to worry about it as much as you can. We should be toilet trained pretty good by now. If you're not toilet trained at 3, now is the time. We got to make a move for it. And then they should be sleeping really good at night still, all night long in their own little toddler bed. If they haven't climbed out yet, if they're still in a crib and they haven't been evicted, that's okay. My third, 3.5 in a crib, it was great. Never tried to climb out, and they slept great and they loved it. But every kid is different, especially if they've been evicted at this point. Dental, it's time to go to a dentist, make sure we're brushing our teeth. And what's funny about dentists in our town is a lot of them, they won't touch you till you're 4 or 5. Okay, so when you go in for your cleaning, say, hey, I need when does my 3-year-old need to come in? And they'll say, yeah, 4, or they'll say, come on in right now. That's perfectly fine too. And the pediatric dentists that we have in town, they're very good, so give them a buzz too. All right, and then also at 3, it is time for an eye exam. Okay, now when you are going in for your eye exam when you're 3, is to look to make sure that there's nothing weird going on in there. So give the eye doctor a call. Sometimes eye doctor will say, no, just wait, okay? But the American Academy of Pediatrics, we recommend that you be seen for an eye exam when you turn 3, and then generally they'll check them again when they start kindergarten at the end of 4 and at 5. So 3 is time to go. Look for weird things. You may be one of those families like us that found something weird. Okay, so that's a good idea to go when you're 3. And then the really fun stuff at 3 is the social, emotional kind of connecting with you stuff. So 3-year-olds are affectionate, okay? They love to be held and sung to and interacted with on a pretty deep level with those kinds of things. And what's cool about a 3-year-old is that you can ask them. You can say, hey, who loves you? And they will tell you. They'll say, oh, mom does. And you can say, why? Okay, and you'll love the answers that you get at 3. So encourage them those things. Fantasy play at 3 is really big too, where they're starting to get into those kinds of things. So live it up. This is great. Okay, boys and girls, take your little dolls and we're gonna play this. Take your Lego or your action figures or whatever and play with the kids. They're gonna like that kind of stuff at this age. If you know me, okay, we're big Disney fans, okay, so this is the age, okay, to take your kids to Disney. We've taken our kids, we have a problem, we go frequently, we love it, and at 3, I think if you take your kids, you're gonna find that that's a really special time for them too. It's a big trip, and it's not for everybody, but there are other things that you can do too. So if you find story times, things like that, at 3, at the libraries, whatever, they're gonna love this stuff. It's a really great thing to be doing at 3. And then at 3, we really want to model good behaviors for them. So if they hear you saying, to each other, oh, I love you, or being affectionate, things like that, then they're going to pick up on those things as well. And speaking, courteously to each other in the family will breed those kinds of behaviors in your kids too. So yeah, don't be afraid to be affectionate. Don't be afraid to, be complimentary to each other and say, hey, you're doing a great job, or thanks for this, or thanks for that, because those things are going to pay off and your kids are going to start to see it a lot. Also, they should be seeing you read, okay? So not on your phone, like pick up a book or something like that. So they're seeing you with those kinds of behaviors too, and they'll want to keep doing it, and they're gonna love to be read to, okay? A really cool dad trick, okay, since we're not around as much as the moms are usually, I have a rule that we started around this age with my kids, that if they ask me to read a book, we stop what we're doing and we do it. Okay, it's hard to do, but it's a great habit to get into. Okay, because they'll bring you something and they'll sit in your lap for 3 minutes while you read a book. The sports page or ESPN on your phone, that'll still be there when you're done. But try and take advantage of those things as much. So that's that. Ask them questions, ask them about their books, ask them what they're into, because 3-year-olds can tell you that stuff, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so like I said, you're gonna remember this age forever. Okay, 3 is really special, and hopefully you're seeing that right now. So the next time that we'll see you guys is when you turn 4. Okay, so we'll see you around 4, and just enjoy this age because it's pretty special. All right, thank you so much, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.